All right, and welcome to the Other 40s Fitness Podcast. My name's Tristan Lowe, and I have my first woman guest on our channel with me today. This is Michelle Ahondjo.
Yeah.
Pleased to meet you again.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good to see you, Michelle. All right, okay, so I'll take that. Today's podcast is about my guest, Michelle, who works in football. And we met for the first time last year at Lincoln University on an open day, a careers opening day. And Michelle was kind enough to come up to our table and ask me about what we do at Good Condition, and ask me about what I do as a trainer and a therapist. And we kept in touch since then. And here we are now. You're our first guest on the women's side of sports and activities.
Thank you for having
me.
me.
All right, once again.
Hiya.
My pleasure. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do then, Michelle? Let's tell us. Okay. So all right, where are you from? What do you do?
Okay, so my name's Michelle. I'm 22. I'm from Leicester. My heritage is West African, so my mum's from Ghana, dad's from Togo.
Your mum's from Ghana?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my dad's from Togo. I'm currently the youth manager at the Lincoln City Foundation. In terms of career work-wise, I work with young people. I've worked with young people for quite a while.
Right.
And I love the role.
The Lincoln City Foundation. Now that's, for those of you who don't know, Lincoln City Foundation is a football organisation within Lincoln City football team.
Yeah.
Okay. Adults, youth, men, women, what?
Everything. So it covers young people to, the older generation.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's polite.
Like me.
A bit older.
Yeah. What, right up to retirement?
Yeah, maybe 70. So we've got Walking Football Conversation Club, ESOL classes for the older demographic. We've got PL Kicks for the younger demographic. We have sports development. There's so many programs to get involved with, really. Right,
and is this all held at the Lincoln City Football Club?
Yeah.
Okay, so so is this something that you work in full time or part time?
Full time.
Yeah. Okay. Enjoying it?
Yeah, I love it. You get to help young people every day. So and it's a lot of behind the scenes and in-person delivery, schools, delivering sessions, and not one day looks the same.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about it.
Yeah. How long have you been there?
I've been there nearly 8 months now, which is crazy because I met you nearly a year ago.
It was, yeah. It's gone quick, yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how I've learned. I'm considerably older than Michelle. Okay, I'm old enough to be her dad. All right, but what I've learned, Michelle, and I think at one point I kind of parted ways, parted onto yourself. Yeah. Your address book is very important in work, in business, in sports, in finance, whatever we do. It's part of our currency. Our address book. If you've got a good address book, you will find you can actually always turn to someone for work, help, advice, or someone that you can provide something for as well.
Yeah.
And so now we're in each other's address book, and now it's actually interesting how you've got there. Okay, let me talk about something. Okay, so your folks are from Ghana and Togo,
yeah.
But you're from Leicester.
Yeah, so I was born there. So they migrated, I want to say 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And they both came separately, met in London through a mutual friend, and had 6 children.
Yeah. So they met in London.
Yeah.
So from different countries who are in Africa, they've come to London, had you?
Yeah.
Among 6 of you.
Yeah.
Now, did they move to Leicester or?
Yeah. So they had my oldest 2 brothers in London, and then they moved to Leicester and had the rest. The first 4.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you've got what? 2 brothers and 4 girls.
3 brothers and 2 younger sisters.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Let's talk about football. That's what you're involved in.
Yeah.
All right, how did you start in football?
I started in football because I guess all my brothers are older than me. My little sisters, so my parents are divorced, and a lot of the boys stayed with my dad, and then I'd come and visit him, and there wasn't much for me to do, and he'd just be like, go and hang out with your brothers, and they'd be in cage all the time, so football cage, and they'd go there
in
all
Leicester
the time.
or London?
Leicester, so they'd be in football cage all the time. And then I just was like, I'll go. Yeah. And I went, and it was just littered with boys. I was probably the only girl at every function. Yeah. And I'd have boys kicking my shins, ankles, everything, you name it.
Yeah.
No
so
mercy.
You didn't get a pass?
No mercy at all.
And should you have?
No, I shouldn't, but a little bit of grace.
Yeah, okay.
I think I should have got grace because I was new to the sport, not grace because I was a woman.
I agree with that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so the boys just let rip. So from there I got tough physically, because I'd say on the pitch, like my biggest strength is my physical strength.
Yeah, excellent.
So yeah, like I'd go on with bruised shins, and yeah, that's just how I developed in football. And then my oldest brother put me into playing for a club, and then I just ended up playing football, and it went from there.
Went from there, yeah? And that's probably how you've grown as well, yeah? From a physiological, when you say your biggest strength on the football pitch is your physical strength.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. Now, when you play football and other sport, your body actually has to adapt to the sport, but it also has to adapt to the fitness side of it, aerobic, anaerobic, strength, recovery. Yeah. And you're 22?
22, yeah.
Okay, 22, there's still room for growth. There's still room for tissue growth and bone growth. I mean, I myself, I went from 6'2" to 6'4" in my early 20s. I had a third growth spurt. I think I was between 21 and 24.
Okay.
Maybe it probably whittled it down to even 2 years, but I had my third growth spurt in my early 20s, and my brother did as well. He went from 6 foot to 6'2.5" in his early 20s.
Yeah.
And it's no coincidence at the time my brother did martial arts, I did martial arts, and I played basketball. So we stimulate our bodies as well. So there's a possibility, Michelle, even though you're just 22 and a woman, your body could still adapt and grow in different ways. I'm not saying you're going to grow to 6 foot 4. All right, tell me something about when you say your strength is your physical strength on the pitch. Walk me through that. What does that look like?
I guess like since I've been young, I've been probably like year 7. I was maybe like 5'7", 5'8".
It's tall for a woman.
Yeah, it's tall for a woman and it's tall for a person, because I was like taller than the boys till about maybe year 9, and they come back and some of them just shot up.
Yeah.
But, so that was my physical strength, because you know you could use your body to get to the ball or use your body to defend the ball, and then I guess that's been my attribute moving through football.
Yeah, okay. Is strength enough, or have you got to have strength, skill and talent?
Yeah, no, you have to have other things, but I'd say everyone has their strength, don't they?
Yeah.
Like for some people it would be technique, speed, or you know, footwork, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
They have their strength, and I just think mine is like physical strength.
Okay, I follow football. I'm an Arsenal fan, and possibly one of the strongest players that the Arsenal Invincibles had in Arsene Wenger's. It was Patrick Vieira, who was 6'4", talented, skillful, and strong. He had all those attributes, which is what made him not just a great captain and a great player, but made him World Cup winner,
100%.
Premier League winner, unbeaten, invincible. He's held in the highest esteem, Patrick Vieira. And again, if you look at other players in the modern era, like Vincent Kompany at Man City, or he's managing now, but Vincent Kompany was physically strong and a good athlete and a good footballer. And then at Chelsea, you had Didier Drogba, you know, so all those players. Okay. Right, let's talk about talent, all right, in women's football, because what little knowledge I understand of women's football, there are differences. So explain to me if the differences between women's football and men's football from a physiological standpoint.
Oh gosh, I think this one's a bit difficult, and I've got to be a bit careful because there's, you know...
We're talking physiology.
Physically, men are stronger than women.
Okay.
Like, you know, like the science shows it.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, you know, guys can be stronger on the pitch or quicker on the pitch, or they do have that advantage. But I would say the hard work, the effort, the skill, the lifestyle you live, you still got to put it in. It's still as equal as a man. Yeah, maybe, you know, they might have, you know, those biological and genetic advantages, but
after that, it's a level playing field.
Yeah, 100%.
I can see that.
And I feel like a lot of women can hold their own against men playing football.
Yeah.
I've played with...
In skill-wise?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I played with multiple guys, you know, and I could hold my own 100%. So, and I feel like a lot of women, especially in this modern day, can do the same. I feel like the gap is narrowing and it's getting closer. So, Yeah.
Okay. And as you know, I studied anatomy and physiology, and the one thing I've not got your footballing knowledge or your footballing skill. However, there's evidence to show there's the one thing that the different. We're talking the physiology side of football, not the skill, not the politics, not the money, or the fame, or the talent, or the wealth, and all that, because they're nice things to have. But it all comes down to the body first. And men have the testosterone levels that women don't have,
they're all higher.
And they simply have it. You know, it's not. That's not. There is some debate of, you know, can a woman actually artificially train her body in that way? Well, physically, in science, yes, they can. But it all comes down to hundreds and thousands of years of biology. All right, let's get away from the actual the physical side of football. We're talking about the skills as well. Okay, are women footballers taught the same skills and skill drill patterns that the men professionals are?
I feel like they are now.
Okay, give me an example.
Maybe like Man City. Man City, I feel like the women and the guys play pretty similar. And I feel like they're both strong sides. Obviously, but that could be like money wise. You got to think about money, resources, coaches, who you have involved. And like more people are inclined to go to the men's side of things because that's where the money is. Really, if we're being 100% honest. And I feel like sometimes and in some situations, different teams play differently. But then you've got to look at the bigger picture. You've got to look at the club. So say for instance, I know when I was at Lincoln, the resources weren't as big as for instance when I went to go train with Stockport. They had like a strong pathway, they had like rehabilitation plans, they had like nutrition plans, they had so much resource because I feel like that club has more money. So and then people would also need to look at like, are the women's club and the men's club partnered? Because that's one where people think, because you play for so and so, you're connected to the men's side.
And that's not always the case.
And it's not. And you've got to think they've isolated and they've separately got to try and get funding for kit, for coaches, for all these different variables. And I feel like that's not always considered.
All right. So if you looked at like Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Liverpool, those women that play for those teams, they are also connected to the men's teams. Is that right? And because those men's teams are so rich, I mean, they're owned by billionaires. That's why if I ever hear about women's football, I hear about it with those 4 or 5 clubs.
Yeah, it's the big clubs, isn't it? Like I know when I was playing in like the National Reserves League and we played Wolverhampton. Look at Wolverhampton, they had the backing from the men, and they were all like they all like look the same. You could tell they had the resources, you could tell they had the time. Whereas if you play a team like a different team in the league who doesn't have those resources,
it manifests itself onto the pitch.
Physically, you can literally see it. And
you see it in a lot of sports.
No, 100%. And if you look at Wolves women, in the National Reserves League, they were physically there, skill-wise they were there, but had each team in that league had the resources to back all the quality and talent that they had on that pitch. I feel like it'd definitely be more of a battle.
Okay. We've looked at the strength, the size, the differences, and I can imagine it's quite a broad subject when we're looking at women's sport as opposed to men's sport. I mean, I follow basketball. I've been following basketball since I was about 11 or 12.
Nice.
And you have to understand that basketball in the United States, and by extension the rest of the world, is a business. Before anything else, it's a business. Once we see it on television, in the NBA, which is historically, and it's the most famous basketball league in the world, and it's got some of the best conditioned athletes in the world. Did you know its viewing figures have gone down by 40%?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
40% is a lot.
So currently the NBA, the National Basketball Association in America, which has got some of the highest paid athletes in the world and the highest conditioned athletes in the world in team sports, its current viewing figures are down by 40%. Now, that's for a different subject matter as to why. I've done some research into why that is, and there's evidence to show why as well. Whereas the NFL, the other day we had the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl is the most watched individual event in world sport.
Oh, amazing.
It's got billions of views on one night. And I don't follow this American football or Super Bowl, do you?
No.
I've heard it won it.
No, I don't. But I think it's great sport though.
It's an incredible sport.
A lot of sports are great sports. I think nearly all sports are great sports. I don't think if someone said to me, don't play that sport, would there be a sport that you wouldn't play? Probably not.
All right.
I would get involved.
So would you go mountaineering?
Mountaineering, I would for fun.
Okay, for fun,
not professionally.
No,
but for fun, absolutely.
All right, okay, so let's talk about, all right, so tell me the teams you've played at again. You've gone to Stockport?
So I trained with Stockport in the summer, I trained with Notts County in the summer, at Lincoln City under 23s, and then before that I was at, so when I was 13 I was at Leicester Foxes, but that's like a different league to Leicester Academy, and then I was there, then I was at Alexton, which is like a men's side.
Where's that, sorry?
Leicester.
Okay.
But that was the only female team for that club. And then I trialed for Leicester County. got through first stages, went to second stages, but I didn't actually attend second stages.
Okay, why is that?
I didn't have the means.
Okay, what, to get there? Or?
Yeah, to get there, to stay in it,
Interesting.
and to develop, I think, as a footballer at 16, 17.
Yeah.
Like life circumstances didn't allow me to fulfill it. So
Yeah.
that's why I took a break. So I was out from football till I was about 17, till I was about 19, 20. Then came to uni. So I was determined to get back into football again.
Yeah.
And then
Lincoln University.
Yeah, I went to Lincoln University.
Yeah, great place to go, by the way. Yeah.
So I did study education psychology, and whilst I was there, I just wanted to better myself, and I knew football is something I enjoyed, and I was pretty decent at it when I was younger. So I just thought, let me pick it back up again. Got into Lincoln City under 23s. Also, there is Lincoln United. I was trying with them as well. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I stayed there for 2 seasons, and left.
Okay. What's the most coveted position that is generally regarded as the most coveted position in women's football? In men's, I think by default and the optics, it's the striker. And yet there's not a lot of out-and-out strikers available in the men's Premier League and whatnot. You don't really get one in an entire squad. You look at Erling Haaland at Manchester City, or you look over in the French Football League, Kylian Mbappe or whatever. When Kylian Mbappe goes to Spain or comes to the Premier League, he's going to play in a striker position.
Yeah.
But it's not like the old days where there'd be 2 or 3 strikers on every team.
Yeah.
I don't see that as much now, you know. So it's like in the men's football now, I think sometimes a world-class midfielder is held with the highest esteem. How does that translate in women's football?
I feel like midfielders are like paramount players as well. I think obviously all players who play on the pitch are important. Yeah. But I do feel like in most of the teams I've played in, like midfielders are it's a populated position, populated section.
Why is that then?
I don't know. I can't tell you, but midfielders, have a really good and important role on the pitch.
Yeah, they're general.
Yeah, they're just they're box-to-box runners, playmakers, like. It's a solid position to have. And I do feel like when you grow up though, a lot of people want to be strikers because they think that's the glory position to be in.
Well, you put the ball in the net.
Yeah.
But you can't put it in the net unless someone gives it to you.
So it's midfielders.
We quickly translate that across the basketball. The point guard brings the ball up.
Yeah.
The point guard distributes the ball to the power forwards and the shooting guards and the centres. Very rarely you see a 7-foot centre or a 6'10" power forward in the NBA bring the ball up from the net. Yeah. Giannis, the Greek in Milwaukee Bucks, he can do it, but very rarely do you see a guy that tall and that heavy bring the ball up and distribute it. It's always someone my height, 6'4" or below, that handles the ball, that brings it up. So if you look at in football or in soccer, the midfielder brings the ball up. Who's the physically biggest player on the pitch in women's football? If you went across the country, is it just the goalkeeper and that's it?
I don't know. I literally, because I know, to be honest, Cash Flint looks like a big player. She played for Leicester, and then I think she's at Cardiff now, or Celtics, or something like that. Yeah. But she looks like a big player.
What, 5'11" or something? Or?
No, they all look like 6-footers. I think. There's some Liverpool players that look like absolute 6-footers.
Are they're on-field players or
on-field? Yeah, I think even girls like Wolves, when we played against them, they're pretty big.
So
like that kind of my strength is also like matched and challenged when you play against bigger players. But it's good because it gives you that experience. So next time you can manoeuvre a bit better and you know what to do. Tell
me about injuries in your sport.
Injuries are paramount. Like, injuries just happen too much. I think it's so important to look after yourself because. Injuries are just reoccurring constantly. ACLs, stress fractures.
What, of the tibia, the lower leg?
Yeah, like feet. Even shin splints, knee issues. I think football's a big one for injuries, and I feel like when people are out for so long, they just don't know. Because I was out for 8 months.
It's a long time at a young age.
And I was just difficult. I think mentally is the issue. It's because you've been doing something for so long, or that's where your heart is, or that's where your interest is, and then it's having that adjustment. It's learning how to look at other things in your life and capitalise off those, and find enjoyment out of other things that's not playing.
Thanks for that, Michelle. That's a really good point that I learned. Growing up in martial arts, basketball, and then golf, and then eventually trekking and climbing. That when you do get an injury, is to actually accept that you've got an injury rather than soldier on through, because then you get a secondary, tertiary, you get more injuries even at a young age. So when you've trained in football, studied football, and studied anatomy, has the one glaring obvious difference between men and women's skeletal structure, there's a big difference between a woman's skeletal frame and a man's.
Yeah.
And it actually does correlate to football as well. And what is that? Do you know?
Is it the hamstring?
Well, the hamstrings are soft tissue. Yeah, that's your muscles. Yeah. A woman's pelvis tilts at a slightly different angle from a man's pelvis.
Oh, okay.
It's what we call the Q angle. A woman's pelvis is naturally broader and tilts at a more acute angle in preparation for childbirth, whether a woman has a child or not. The anatomy of a woman's pelvic region is different from a man's. And because it's broader and tilts slightly forward, what that does, with or without sports, it puts excessive load down the femur, down the thigh, and into the knee. And that's why more women are predisposed to knee injuries. If everything else is equal, if a woman is the same height and same weight and plays the same sport, eats the same and sleeps the same as a man, if everything else is equal, the woman has more chance of knee injuries simply because of the way her pelvic tilts compared to a man's.
Crazy.
So they should explain that in women's football, and if they do, if they don't, then the women that are playing football, they're ill-informed. So if they're informed about the difference of the pelvic region compared to a man's, it gives them that heads up, so they should look after their knees even more. Yeah. All right. Okay. So injuries notwithstanding, let's look at nutrition. Now, you talked about good health and good food. All right. Okay. So what have they explained to you at university and the football club about your nutrition?
So I did education and psychology, so it's not really food related at all.
Sure.
Football club, they teach you how to what's good, what's like healthy fats, and you know, what you should intake, you know, the time of which you eat meals as well is very important, you know, for energy, carbs and stuff like that. So to be like, they've taught us quite a bit in terms of...
Do you like carbohydrate? I do.
Yeah, I'm a walking carb. I think I eat I know I eat too much, like, I'll be honest.
What, eat too much or eat too much carbohydrates?
Both. I think, I feel like when I'm playing football and stuff, it's different because by default, you're playing 3 times a week, you're in the gym 3 times a week, so your expenditure is so high.
Yeah.
So your intake can definitely be so much higher.
Yeah.
But when you revert from not training in that volume, you're going to put weight on.
Yeah. That's just simple math.
Yeah.
If your energy expenditure is lower than your calorific intake, okay, that happens. And of course, if your energy expenditure is higher than your calorific intake, that happens. A classic example, myself, when I was in the Himalayas, the minimum that a grown man can eat, is 3,000 calories a day, and even then you lose weight. I lost 6 pounds in 1 week in the Himalayas, and I couldn't eat enough food. The air's so thin, and the physical strain of trekking in thin air is such a demand on the body. Even the women were eating 2,500 calories. The guys were trying to eat 3,500, 4,000 calories, and even then you can't keep the weight on. So a lot of people would love to go there just for that, just for that reason. Let's talk about, so if you look at nutrition then, you like carbohydrates, as do I, but you have to actually know that you've got to tone it down and rein yourself in. Okay, you come from, your parents are from Ghana and Togo.
Yeah.
Did you grow up on indigenous food to those countries?
Heavy carbs, yeah.
Give me an example.
So like semolina, you know, like fufu, brown rice, you know, compound food. Cornmeal, you know, shito, like soya, like of all that food, and a lot of it's good because a lot of it is protein, but then you know you get your like it's heavy, isn't it? Sluggish, so you've got to get the ratio right. And then like I think my dad loves jollof rice, so like or rice and stew or whatever it is. So that kind of worked in our favour quite frequently, like. My older brother's a boxer, he weighs probably about 120, like he's 6'4".
120 kilos, He's a big boy.
Yes.
How old is he?
24.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a big boy.
I'll show you roughly. But, his consumption has been very high from a young age because he's always been active, whether that's football, whether that's whatever. My dad, you know, the volume of food and all the volume of food they give us has kind of fed into it, but I guess they've fed us the right food at times. So like with him, he was kind of brought up on the right food, you know, so it was a lot easier, you know. So
but also though, it's nice to have a treat once in a while. My go-to is chocolate. Dark chocolate. What's yours?
Dark chocolate. What's my go-to? I do like chocolate, but I don't like plain chocolate. So
Because it is plain.
Oh yeah, like I don't know, I do like a brownie or something.
Oh yeah, I
something
like
cakey is
okay.
quite like, yeah. But obviously they're high in calories. So you think, you know, high in calories, high in sugars, high in all of it. You've got to be aware of what you consume, and you've got to be aware. I think as a sports person, you've got to be aware of
what you put in your body.
Yeah, and like because you know, for me, instantly when I was injured, and then manoeuvring, okay, I'm literally gaining weight because of my consumption.
Yeah.
So it's like being aware you're gaining weight and then actively trying to lose that weight, and then knowing your window to lose weight, how you're going to lose it progressively over time, or, because...
Takes discipline.
100%. So it's a reduction, and, I've been travelling, and, when you're in foreign countries, you want to try what they got to offer. So, sometimes you don't care about the calorie intake.
Well, just a little heads up, before we shot the podcast, this video, Michelle came in and explained to me she's been travelling in the last year, and you've been to 2 countries, of which I think is a lot of people's tick box. Where did you go?
I went to Tokyo. Well, last year I went to Tokyo, Japan.
Yeah.
Oh no, this year I went to South Africa.
Yeah.
Last year I went to Czech Republic, Poland.
Wow.
Vienna.
Is this so? You went to Europe and you went to Japan as well?
Yeah, I went to Japan.
Nothing to do with the football club?
No, nothing to do with football.
Okay.
First year, so I actually got a scholarship from my university to go to Czech Republic.
Yeah.
So that was like young people based,
yeah.
And then from there I went to Poland, Vienna, and then when I got back, I finished my studies. So I wanted to relax or whatever. So I went to Spain, and then I went to Dublin. You know me, I love Dublin.
Now,
it's actually amazing.
That's interesting because I've not been to Ireland, but I'm going to Ireland next month.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to Dublin because that's for stag do's and hen nights.
But I went to
Belfast.
I went to Bray as well, so which is about an hour away, and that's beautiful. Like there's places to hike, brilliant people, seafront water.
You mentioned Spain. What part of Spain?
I went to Menorca.
Menorca. I've been to Menorca. Yeah. Okay.
It's nice, very warm. It was beautiful.
Good for your buns.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Good food.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I had squid for the first time.
Oh, okay, I like squid.
Like I said, this is what we're talking about.
It does.
Yeah.
You're still there an hour later. Tell me about.
Yeah, literally.
All right, so Michelle went to Japan, Tokyo.
Oh, yeah.
And fun fact, I'm going to Japan in a couple of months from now. It's a place I've always wanted to visit. What is the go-to food that I should try in Japan?
Oh, gosh, I think...
Seafood or...?
Tempura set. But then I would also say Wagyu beef.
Yeah, I've heard about that,
And then there's some other stuff that I consumed, I'll be so honest. I don't know the name.
Was it wiggling?
No!
Still moving.
I don't do all the raw stuff. It's not a bit of me.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of stuff. I'll definitely have a look. I'll send you pictures and show you what they are.
Great.
I cannot tell you names, I'll be so honest. But beautiful food, like beautiful place, like the people are great.
Yeah.
Like
football's big in Japan.
Yeah.
They've got quite a good national team.
They've got a good
watched them in the last few World Cup, and it's quite an efficiently run organisation. They're not playing at it, are they? They're proper professional athletes who play football.
100%.
Yeah.
I think they've got a good setup in general, to be honest, in terms of like economy.
Yeah.
It's quite clean, transportation's really good, affordable. It depends where you live though, obviously in the country. But yeah, it's definitely, if you can go, definitely go.
Right, so, now we've done travel, we've touched on food, we've touched on the training, the physical side, the strength side, right.
Family.
Where do you see family? Great, All right, you're 22 now. Where do you see yourself at 25?
25? Oh, lovely.
It's round the corner, by the way.
Gosh, don't remind me.
Yeah.
I see myself at 25. I think I'll either play football at a decent standard.
Yeah.
I'll be also helping young people because that's what I like to do.
What learn football?
I just think the personal development. I think there's much more to the growth of a young person than sport. Obviously, sports is a good hook, and it's a great way to get them involved. But role models, futuristic plans, what we want to do. Because I currently work on the I created and I built the NCS program for the Legacy Foundation, and
superb.
Part
easy
of that
or hard work?
Nothing comes easy, Mr. Tristan.
Yeah.
Nothing comes easy. No, I think...
By the way, people from where I'm from don't talk like that, by the way. That's what my spent
it's definitely one-to-ones and ensuring we can do as best as we can with the resources we can to help them.
Yeah. That's good. All right, so 3 years from now, you're still playing football at a good level, and you're part of an academy of which you've helped build. Yeah.
I don't know. 3 years, like I feel like it's enough time to make an impact.
Yeah.
But is it enough time to because things take time to develop, so I don't know how long things will take to develop. I definitely think travel a few more places, help more young people, get a bit further with football, and enjoy my life, because we only actually have one, so that's what I feel like we'll be at, and then eventually in the future I would like to create something of my own.
Sure. Okay. What does so if you could press a button and in hindsight, not in hindsight, and go further to when you're let's say 35, let's say 13 years from now, and it sounds like a a long way away from now, but it really comes around quick. I know where I was at 22. I was taking my driving lessons in Nottinghamshire. I can even remember what I wore on my driving test at 22, and here I am now 53, and it's gone just like that. Quick. Okay, mid-30s?
Mid-30s. I definitely say,
you're
getting me exposed. I definitely say I'd like to look to build my organisations and like firm links and do something with deprivation with young people. I think is a big thing. Like a person I do really rate is Marcus Rashford, because although decent player on the pitch, he does external things that help his community. Like Half, and so I think I would definitely take root from him in terms of external like businesses and external help for young people. So definitely say development of an organisation of some to help young people. And just to help enable them in whatever they want to do, because not every young person's an academic. No, not every young person is.
Well, most aren't. If you go the world over, most aren't academics. If you think about what are there, is it 6 billion people in the world or something like that? So most of those aren't academics. Okay, there's one thing you've not mentioned. You've not mentioned it with regards to football. You've not mentioned it with regards to and that's money.
Oh, money.
Currency.
I think money's important, but it's not. I think it's very earthly currency. I think if you're doing something you enjoy, there should be some wiggle room. I can only say that because me, responsibilities wise, I'm alone. I'm a young person. I don't have kids, so or mortgage or anything like that. So that's not something I have to consider. But for myself, I think right now, the job I do, I think I'm content with the money I get. Football wise, there's definitely opportunity to make money, but have I been paid yet? No. Okay.
If we can, this is just me parting my what I've learned, and I'm still learning myself, by the way. If we do something we enjoy doing, for, in the main, 80% of the time, if we have a professional career that we enjoy doing, and we get paid for it, that's a big tick.
Fat tick,
as far as I'm concerned. Now, because
I agree.
what I discuss with my therapists and trainers that come and work at my centre is that the wage is only part of your currency. Your currency is also who you work with, where you work, in what conditions. 100%. Who you don't have to work with is part of the package. Because a package for employment shouldn't just be about the money. Because that's the case, you'd go and work in banking and try and become, an investment banker working in mergers and acquisitions. Go and become a Hollywood movie star.
100%.
Because then we get a lot of money, but equally comes that heavy lays the crown as well. And there's a lot of turmoil and tragedy in those things as well. So that's interesting. You didn't bring it up.
Because I think money doesn't drive me as I guess. Right now, I guess at my age and what I'm doing, money doesn't drive me. So it's like, I know what I'm doing. My currency is helping young people. It's helping people, and that's where it's at. And obviously, for me, I guess selfish things would be sports or making money or these other things that derive from it. But essentially, I work for a charity, and in the future, I'll probably end up working for charities. Eventually, hopefully, build my own. So it's
with a form of income, because you've got to be like anyone else. And travel and keep going to
these nice places. We got to travel.
Tell me about. Okay. Right. If you could change something in the last 2 or 3 years, we're talking work-wise, professionally-wise, training-wise, you could click your fingers today and it changes, something you've learned in the past, what would it be?
I think being more equipped in the gym, I think that's one. But
equipped as in your training skills?
Like form with things like squats or having straight back and deadlifts. Form, I'd say, because I guess I've been in and out of the gym since I was like 15. But and then also that over period dedication. Sometimes I can be very 100% with things. So for like a good 6 months of the year I'll be in gym every day and not have that balance. Whereas if I just was in the gym like 3-4 times a week
and do it
maintenance, and do it well, that execution would be better. So I definitely look at concision and exertion of energy into the things I've done, because sometimes I end up throwing the kitchen sink at everything I do, which is brilliant because results are there, but at the end of it, burnout is a real thing.
I've had that myself. I've had chronic fatigue syndrome in my late 20s when I was playing basketball and weightlifting and doing upper house and going to work. Something has to give. Like that. So chronic fatigue syndrome, overtraining. All right, so you would change your knowledge or what you do in the gym, so to speak. All right, and actually, that will always be the case, because you can always look back, even when you get to my age, and think, I could have done that better last week, or I could have done less, because sometimes less is more. And I think I'd chill out a little bit more, opportunities will come. You'll meet people. There's always a time and a situation for networking and meeting people. I think I feel like getting yourself right physically, mentally, and in all the areas you can. Is so important. Like for me, I'm a Christian, so like you're Christian. Are you like practicing in Christianity?
Practicing Christianity. So and I feel like that's what drives me to help young people. And help people. Okay, right. When they say you should never meet your idols in sport, movies and whatnot, I mentioned to you before, you may know I'm a big music fan. And I grew up in what I consider to be the golden era of music. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, in the era of Motown, in the inception of hip-hop and R&B, the inception of dance music, which I think has changed now. Who do you think is the richest female pop star in history? Richest female pop star in history?
Of any genre?
My brain would just go Beyonce, but there's so many greats though, and like Taylor Swift people love right now. I can only really think of current trends, and if we go back 20 years, I think it's more groups than it is individual. Right. As richest Taylor Swift is going to become, it's actually Rihanna. She's the richest. Oh, I was close.
Yeah, when you said Beyonce.
I was going to go Rihanna, but she kind of like dipped off.
Well, the reason I mentioned Rihanna, is because she diversified her portfolio and went into women's cosmetics, the Robin Fenty line. It's made her a billionaire. So she's the richest pop star in the world. I think Taylor Swift might eclipse her, but if Rihanna spreads out again. So what my point with that is that if you've got a skill, a talent, and you get to a certain place, address book wise and monetary wise, you can actually then take your time, efforts that you've got spare and put it into something else to create wealth, financial wealth. But that's another podcast. Well, I feel like social capitalism is the world we live in today. It is, so it's a lot, really much of who you know. But obviously you need to know stuff to be able to maneuver whatever area you're in. But social capitalism is a thing, and I want a lot of young people to understand that, to have that, social media, to have those connections, to be able to keep thriving in whatever they're doing. But it takes one conversation with someone. What do the girls or the women, in women's football, girls football, what's the go-to clothing brand they wear? Clothing brand? What's that the go-to brand? I think for all footballers, in my opinion, I've not seen a footballer not in essentials, not in Represent, not in Cole Buxton, not in any streetwear brand, because I feel like everyone tries to dress like the loose, baggy, I'm that person type of vibe. I guess girls it depends what type of girl it is, because you got more of your masculine woman, your female woman, feminine woman. What's the brand? What brands? Brands, if you could, someone gives you a £5,000 check and you go to Oxford Street or Bond Street today, and you've got to spend it. 5,000. What shop are you going to? I'm going to Prada. Yeah, I'm getting the Cloudburst Funders. I'm getting a nice. Yes, it's like I'll show you after. They're thick black trainers. I'd get them. Give me some more height. I'd probably get like a nice two-piece little women's suit. Maybe with a side bag. Maybe Dior. To be honest, I'm not materialistic. I know I'm saying all these brands. Only because I've asked you. I've teased it out of you. Not that I know anything about fashion. So I'd absolutely live off Prada if I could financially afford it. Dior if I could afford it. YSL. Great brands. Well, listen, what we're going to do, I'd like to bring you back in again in the future, and we'll expand on it, and actually even actually look at some ideas with regards to look at what our bodies do as well, But we'll talk about that off camera and come back to it. All right, now. The podcast has gone on. I'm glad actually. I think we just scratched beneath the surface just a little bit, And I've seen you relax a bit more, and because it's not easy to sit and talk. I'm in my environment. This is what I do all day. you know, work with people, train with people on fitness and health and what have you. But again, outside of what we do as a profession, we've got to have fun.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with going to your favourite store and buying your favourite item of clothing. There's nothing wrong with going to the movies or travelling. You've been to some incredible places that most people in the world will never get to see. And you're only 22 now. So the world, no pun intended, is actually your oyster.
Yeah, glory be. Yeah.
All right, okay, well, we're going to sign out now. I've been fortunate enough to bring Michelle in, and I'm Tristan Lowe, and this is
Michelle Ahondjo.
And we are both Lincoln residents, and neither of us come from Lincoln. I'm from North London, Michelle's from Leicester.
Yeah, there you go.
By way of folks from African continent, and my folks are from North London in South America, and then we end up in this little room in Lincoln City together.
Crazy.
Nice to meet Michelle.
Nice. Thank you for having me on.
Until the next time. All right, please like, subscribe and share, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching. Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Follow this young lady, future star. All right, cool.
All right, see you. Thank you.